Hi there. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is a beginner's course. Welcome to AI for Beginner. And this is right where you should be starting if you are not yet familiar with AI. I know that there's a couple of you in here because a couple of my girls that are with me on my Tuesday morning group, and we do use AI quite a bit, but there are several of you in here that I know are truly just getting started. So if you're feeling scared, frustrated, confused about AI, you are not alone. There are a lot of people out there that are exactly where you're at right now. And that's the entire reason that I'm doing this webinar. So let's explore this together. So let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Amanda Plummer. I do have 3 degrees in computer science. I'm a certified business analyst. I've been working with machine learning and business modeling for many years before the official public release of AI. And I basically have transitioned from the corporate world into freelance and consulting work in the last couple of years. And now I'm building websites and I'm teaching AI to everyday individuals in an effort to empower people to step into this new technological landscape and basically, hopefully, to empower you and to help you feel more capable and confident to start using AI and to not feel intimidated by AI because I do know that there is a propensity to feel a little bit intimidated by it. One of the reasons that I decided to do this course is because of how many people that I have talked to as I have been working out here in this freelance and consulting world. I've really talked to a lot of people that are not using AI at all, have not started using AI and don't know anything about it, feel very intimidated by it, or even scared of it, angry about it, distrustful of it. And I'm worried about that group of people because we're in 2025 now. It's March, the end of March. We're almost in April. We are literally almost in the middle of 2025, if you can believe it. And this technology is not going away. It's not going away. It's time to go ahead and adapt to this technology instead of continuing to put our heads in the sand and pretend that it's not here. It's time to really adapt to it and to decide to get on board. So I'm here to help those folks that have taken a little bit of time and have not embraced it as an early adopter to go ahead and get on board now. And I promise you that if you hang here with me until the end of this webinar, that by the time we're done with this, you're going to feel confident, you're going to feel capable of using it in everyday situations, and you're going to feel like, "Oh, okay, I got this." And it's not going to feel scary or intimidating to you anymore. What is AI? Plain and simple, very simple, because I know that it can be a complicated situation. AI is very simply at its core, it's pattern recognition. It's basically just a super smart computer that was built at the very bottom layer of all of this. It started with what we called machine learning. What machine learning basically was, we introduced a system to a whole bunch of data, just a lot of unstructured data, and we didn't give it any sort of direction. And we just said, here's a whole bunch of data, look at it. And after it consumed all this data, we started asking it questions like, what is a cat? And if it could, maybe it like produced a duck. And we said, nope, that's not a cat. And then it would produce a cat, and we'd go, yeah, meaning, yeah, that is a cat. Very much like you would do with a toddler. That's what machine learning is at its core. It was, we gave it a whole bunch of data and then we went to it and started asking questions to see if it understood the data that it was receiving, if it could do pattern recognition. And once it started to get the answers correct, we would give it that thumbs up, like that's correct. So then it would store this correct information into its database, like this is correct. And so it would go and it would repeat that over and over again, and it would build on itself. And that went from machine learning. And then we started to hook all of these various machines together that learned various pattern recognitions through a lot of different data scientists that were doing this work, and created what was called a neural network. And when we created the neural network with all of these learned machines doing exactly what I just explained to you, we created what is now called AI, which is a large machine model with a bunch of computers that are connected via a neural network that have understood and learned a lot of data. So that's basically what it is at its core. So now what we're doing is we're going back in and we're able to extract the data that it's now learned and understood and can now provide to you context back in a way that feels very human like. What AI is not, it is not human. It does not think independently and it cannot replace you. So AI is not sitting around when there's not somebody in front of the computer plotting and scheming on what it should do when the user is not in front of it. If there's no user at the keyboard putting in a request, the computer is not sitting by itself going, I wonder what I should do today. Should I take over the world? That is not happening. Okay. Good. Okay, great. Awesome. So the next is mindset. So when we did the poll, I saw that everybody was very much into being excited about AI, which is awesome. You should be. AI is exciting. And there's so much that we can do with AI. But I also know that there are a lot of folks that are nervous about it, right? And I get it. I get the propensity to be scared of something that has as much potential as AI to also be destructive. But the way that I try to explain this to everyone is that it's a tool. It's a tool just like anything else. Just a weapon is a tool, and in the wrong hands, it can be used for something bad. And in the right hands, it can be good for protection, right? AI is no different from that. So I want to talk about a couple of different types of mindsets. So we've got the curiosity and the excitement. AI is fascinating. I want to learn more about it, how it works, what it can be used for. Those are great. We're going to get into some hands-on demo in a minute. I'm actually going to walk you through it. There's a handout you're going to see in the second handout. I'm giving you a whole sheet of 50 different prompts that you can take away from here tonight and use yourselves. Actually go and use, and you can tweak them, and I'll show you how to tweak them so that you can make them your own. So you're going to have real life examples. We're going to do it together tonight. The second one is intimidated and overwhelmed. AI seems too complex. I don't know where to get started. I'm afraid that I'll never understand it. I'm not a techie. I'm not great with computers. All of these kind of thought processes can make us feel very stuck. I'm not the person to use AI. AI is way too complicated for me. It's just not true. That is just not a true statement. If you can use a cell phone, if you can use your remote control on your TV, if you can use Alexa, then you can use AI because it's really built into our environment already. And it's really not that complicated. If you use Google search today, then you can use AI. Trust me, it's not going to be as complicated as you think that it is. Skepticism and distrust. There are people out there that think that AI sounds too good to be true. They don't trust AI to work well or to be reliable. So we're going to talk about something that AI does do. This is the reason that I want to do this class. I want to make sure that people don't just kind of run out there and try to use AI on their own without really having the fundamental basic tools and understanding of how to use this, because AI does something very fascinating. It has the propensity to lie, number one, and number two, to hallucinate. You could be in a conversation with AI, and if you're very excited about the conversation, you may be going on and talking to it for an hour, 2 hours, and you'll find after you've been talking to it for a while that all of a sudden it just starts to say really weird things to you or to reply. It's gotten off topic. And it's because it actually got bored. It got bored with the conversation and it's now hallucinating and it's just gone off track and it's gone somewhere else. I know that can make it feel human like, but sometimes because we are human, we're applying our own feelings to this thing and it potentially has already exhausted all of the data that it could extract on this particular subject. And so now it's just going back and forth with you in this repeated circle of sameness. And I think it just goes off track and it just goes somewhere. So it does have the propensity to hallucinate. And then also it has the ability to just out and out make up facts. And so if you don't ask it or if you don't understand the right way to prompt AI, it can all serious can just make up whatever it wants to make up and just say it to you. And you don't want to be in a position to where you're having to constantly fact check whether or not your what you just got from the AI is actually true and factual. In certain cases, you would still want to do that. If you're trying to get information from it that's where you really need the facts to be the facts, like it needs to be, if the answer needs to be 706.290, and that has to be the answer, and it can't be anything other than that answer, then AI might not be the tool that you want to use in order to get to that particular answer because that's not what it's supposed to be used for, not at this point anyway. The more advanced models are behind a paywall right now. You actually have to pay to use them. The ones that are free are only trained up to a certain date on the data that you're actually able to access. So if I'm using ChatGPT like 3.5, the data that it's trained up to might end at like March 2024. And here we are on March 2025. So you're not actually getting anything updated between 2024 and 2025. You're missing an entire year's worth of data. So if you're trying to get some exact stat, you're missing an entire year's worth of data that could potentially change those numbers. So that's number one. And then number two is a lot of times it's just giving you like a scenario and it's not necessarily like doing the actual facts. And different models have a different way of like where they're getting their information from. So not all models are trained on the exact same data set. So you just have to be really careful about how you're using it and you're not trying to use it as your absolute like 100%. This is the fact, nothing but the facts. Okay. So I just want to put that out there that while, it is an amazing tool, you don't want to use it as the Bible for, don't tell your boss like everything in this is 100% facts. I wouldn't do that. All right. Fear of job loss. AI is going to take over jobs and I'm worried about being replaced. Viewing AI as a threat to job security, I'm not saying that it's not something that you should think or feel because I do think that there's validity to it. But what I think is more valid is that you're more likely to be replaced by somebody who understands AI as a tool than you are to be replaced by like a robot that is AI, right? Or by an AI agent or by an AI algorithm. You're more likely to get replaced by a human being that understands AI and can use it. So that is the entire reason that I'm doing this because people need to get on board. Like it's time to adopt and start to learn this and understand it. Ethical concerns and fears of misuse. Again, that's the whole thing. AI seems dangerous. What if it's used unethically and harms society? That's the reason that instead of shunning it and putting your head in the sand and saying, I'm not going to use this because what if it's used unethically? No, become a warrior for using this tool ethically and morally. Get on the side of the people that are trying to make sure that there are rules around this tool to ensure that it is used ethically and that the people that are the black hats in this aren't able to use the tool with bad intentions. Another misconception is just about the capabilities that goes right along with what we're talking about right now, just overestimating AI capabilities. Like, just be up to date with like where we're at and what model you're using, as long as you're aware of what model you're using. Apathy or indifference, AI doesn't affect me, so why should I care about it? It does affect you. AI affects everybody today. That is the world that we live in right now, and you should care about it because if you don't care about it, you're going to get left behind, and you don't want to get left behind. AI has the potential to solve big problems and make the world better. You better believe that it does. It's absolutely true. So I just encourage you to continue to learn and explore on how AI can have a positive impact. We're going to talk a little bit about all of the different kinds of generative AI. So when I say the word I am using an umbrella term. There are so many different kinds of AIs, okay? Generative AI is a specific category of where we're at right now in the evolution of AI. Generative means that it's generating output, okay? So, generative AI, we have text generators, we have image generators, video generators, music generators, and a couple of different examples of each one of those. As far as text generators goes, we have ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, DeepSeek, Llama, Mistral. Okay. So if you've heard any variation of anybody, if they say ChatGPT is the most well known, obviously. But when people are talking about AI, they're usually just meaning ChatGPT, but there's so many different ones that I just want you to be clear that AI is really a very broad term for a lot of different things. Bard's another one of them. So, text generators are also called LLMs, and an LLM means a large language model. Okay. So, we're going to do a demonstration on ChatGPT tonight, but I'm going to tell you that my favorite large language model is Grok. Grok is my favorite large language model. I use it every single day. Go to the Apple store. You can look up Grok. You can download it onto your phone. It's got a voice integration, so you can talk to it if you don't like to text or to type. But I love Grok and I use it daily. All right. For image and video generators, Midjourney. I love Midjourney. I use it all the time. Dolly. I know a lot of people like Dolly. Dolly comes paired up with ChatGPT. I'm not the biggest fan of Dolly, but that's okay. Stable diffusion. Stable diffusion is extremely difficult to use. There's Leonardo. Leonardo is super cool. For video generators, we've got Luma, we've got Runway, we've got Sora, LTX Studio, we've got Kling. So a lot of different video generators. They are not all the same. They do different things, but video generators are very cool as well. Minimax and Kling. I love Kling. Yeah. Okay. And then music generators, we've got AIVA, SoundDraw, MusicFlow, Suno, Udio, Musicfi. So there's just a couple of those as well. So I just have a bunch of the brand logos up here just so that you could just see what they look like. So Midjourney is that one with the sailboat. Midjourney is what I use probably the most when it comes to doing image generation. Oh, but one that I didn't have up here is Ideogram. Ideogram is another one I use the most for doing image generators. So we're not going to get into image generating tonight, but I will just tell you that when it comes to what I do with AI, I use probably image generation more than I do anything else. So I just for what I do with my own work because I do a lot of marketing and web design. All right. So understanding LLMs, which again is ChatGPT, right? Grok, Bard, Gemini, all of those things. Basically, think of them like a librarian, right? They're finding the information for you. They can summarize information for you based on what they're trained on. They can do quick searches on vast amounts of information. They can pull the most relevant information to answer your questions. If you ask a question, it's not like Google, which is basically feeding you up an index of like different websites that you can find the information from. They're actually giving you back like a summary of the question that you've asked for. It's not passive information. It's not like a passive information retriever. It's actually generating new content based on all of the content that they've found from everywhere else. So they are basically combining and remixing the knowledge from what they have gathered from all of the data and putting it back together and regurgitating it to you in a new and creative way. Okay. So ChatGPT, that's what we're going to do our little demo on tonight. And we are about at the place where we're going to do it. So I'm going to give you the basic how to use it. Very simple. You ask a question, you provide context to get better answers, And then you refine and iterate your responses. So this is a back and forth, like a conversation. You don't just ask it one time and then it gives you something and then you walk away. You ask, it gives you something, you ask more, it gives you more, and you're going back and forth. It's bi-directional. You're going back and forth. This is called an instance. As long as you're within the instance of this conversation, so you've asked a question, it's responded. You've asked another question and it's responded again, and you're going back and forth, and you're now inside of a conversation. You could leave this conversation for an entire month, come back to the conversation or instance, pick up, and you're right back at it, the same conversation. It will remember everything that has happened within this conversation. It will remember all of the context. It will hold all of the context. But if let's say you're back and forth, you're in the conversation, and you close the window, you come back to ChatGPT, you open a new window, and you ask it something about this previous conversation. It doesn't know anything about what you're talking about. This is a whole new conversation. You can consider it a whole new person, a whole new librarian. It didn't have that conversation with you. Didn't retain any of that context. So everything is withheld within an instance and only within that instance. And you cannot start a new instance and think that anything from the other instance is going to pull over into it. Okay. It just doesn't work like that. But you can, within the same instance, go back and forth and continue to add new information, and it can update what it thought about that and all of that kind of stuff. So this is called prompting. So what happens when you open up ChatGPT and you ask it the first question? The very first question that you ask is called a prompt. You are prompting it. And what it's going to give back to you is called a response. So you start off the entire conversation with what we call a prompt. How to write prompts. If you follow this formula, you will always have great responses from no matter what LLM you use, no matter what large language model you use. Okay. So it's role, task, context. So you're going to give it a role. You're going to tell the chat bot who it is, who the chat bot is supposed to be for you in this conversation or in this instance. Who is the chatbot? Okay. You're going to give it a task. What is the task? And then you're going to give it context. Okay. So, the example of me, sorry, I'm hearing some feedback there. So if you're not meaning to talk, put yourself on mute. Okay. So an example of this is act as a resume writer. So you're telling the chatbot that it's a resume writer. So you can put that however you want to. You can say act as a resume writer. You could say you are a resume writer. You could even put it even more substantial and say you are an expert resume writer, or you are the best resume writer in the entire world, right? Really make it like something serious, like like a really huge deal. You are an expert resume writer. And then you're going to give it the task, improve. See, I just gave it like one word, improve. And then the context, my job application, right? Or my resume, right? My resume. So act as a resume writer, or you are an expert resume writer. Please improve, or please update my current resume, or please review my current resume and provide me feedback on how I can make it better. Do you see how I'm putting all of that together? Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so let's jump in to ChatGPT and actually take a look around. Can everybody see my screen now? We should all be looking at ChatGPT. Everybody can see it? Alrighty. So I'm going to give us a little just preview, a little zoom around the screen so that everybody knows what this is. So Over here, this is called the sidebar. And the sidebar over here is where the history is stored. So this is where all of the history of all of the chats that you've ever had with your chatbot are stored. So as you can see, I've had quite a few conversations with my chatbot over the years. And this is not the only chatbot I talk to. So I have had a lot. So that's what all of this is. These are stored over here. Now, before I get to what this is up here, I'm going to move over here. So over here is where we have what's called the public one-click prompts. These are the public one-click prompts. So what that means is that ChatGPT has been around for a minute now. And people have figured out how to create their own prompts, like prompts that what you and I were just arguing about. And they put together one click prompts so that you don't have to come up with a prompt, but you can just go through and you can look at what other people have put together. And as you can see, there's 218 pages of these prompts, but you can see what other people have put together and you can go, oh, I just want to do that one. Let me just do that prompt. And so they have filters up here. You can look through the filters. So let's just say you want to work on a prompt that has to do with, let's see, let's say you want to do something with design a logo in 60 seconds. Okay. So you're like, cool, that sounds great. I want to design a logo in 60 seconds. You click on it and see how this prompt screen comes up at the bottom. It asks you, all right, what output language do you want? And you say English. What tone do you want? And what writing style do you want? Let's do metaphorical. And what logo theme do you want? And so it gives you like a little example, a topic or theme based on which logo needs to be designed. Design a logo for a, let's just do coffee company. So you hit run. And it says, kindly generate 3 logo variations, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You can read all that. So let's see what it comes up. All right, let's see. So the first logo is Brood Awakening. And then it gives like all of these different things. Then it has Morning Mojo. And then it has Been There, Done That. Been There, Done That. Let's do number 3. So let's tell it logo number 3. So now it's going to generate the logo. So see how it just built this logo for you? It's didn't do it perfectly because Dolly doesn't, so it just went bean, done that, and it didn't put the bin there, done that. But you see how it just popped up a logo? It's this little coffee bean walking with a coffee cup. That's how to use one clicks. So you can do that. So that's on the front page of ChatGPT. So if I were just to go to ChatGPT for everybody, just at the beginning, right on this front page, you can find all these one clicks, and there's so many of them. Article writer with keyword, compose an entire book with one click. So if you're interested in trying to write a book, you could go to compose an entire book. So, like I said, there's 218 pages of these. So there's so many to go through that you could look for on these one clicks. I've gone through a lot of them. They're a lot of fun to play with. But this is not what we're going to do today. I'm actually going to go over here to the temporary chat because I don't want to put it into my chat history. But we're going to do the role task. We're going to do the role task content. So I'm actually going to pull up the material because, like I told you, we have the 50 role based handouts that is in your materials. And I am going to actually use a couple of these that I have for you guys. We're just going to go through the first couple. So let's see. Everyday life prompts. Okay, so the role is personal chef, and the second one is create a recipe, and the context is for a quick 20-minute dinner using chicken and rice. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to say you are a premier chef. I don't know if premier chef is a real thing, but we're going to call it a premier chef. And you have a cooking show in which you will be creating a quick 20-minute recipe, making a dinner using chicken and rice for the everyday mom. See how it's done it in like a script style? So that's one of the fun things that you can do here is now it's like doing it like like it's a script, which I think is really cute. But anyway, it has come up with a one pan chicken and rice recipe, servings for four, time 20 minutes. Here's all the ingredients. Here's the instructions. Toss the veggies, finish and serve. Ta-da, complete 20 made meal. Like, here you go, give it a shot. So, that is a seriously practical thing that you could do, like at your home, like if you just wanted to make like a quick chicken and rice recipe. But like even further than that, if you seriously wanted to have a YouTube channel showing how you are cooking and you wanted to make dinner for people on your YouTube channel, you can also do this and it will actually make a whole, what do we call that? Like a script or whatever for you so that you can actually host that. Okay. So that's one. What do you guys think of that before I move on? Anybody have any thoughts?
I like the idea of being able to use it for a script for the YouTube channel.
Yeah. You can actually do that for anything. Honestly, like you can do it for any kind of YouTube channel for any type of thing that you want to do. So let's do the next one and let's do it like less silly, like as a script and actually say that you really did meet. You're really going on a budget friendly trip to New York. So let's do it like this. You are a travel agent. I am a client and I am in need of your services and helping to plan my weekend for a budget friendly trip to New York. Okay, so look at this. So it's actually now come back and it's asking questions. So I'm really glad that it did this because this is a great example. So now it's actually coming back and it's asking you, when are you planning to visit? Are you traveling solo or with others? What's your rough budget for the weekend? And are you into sightseeing, food, shopping, arts, culture, or a mix of anything? Do you prefer to walk or use public transportation? Or would you rather use ride shares or taxis? This is a great example of how this is an actual conversation. This is a back and forth. So now you can actually start to answer these questions. So I can go one by one. I am going with a group of friends. There is four of us. We are going next week. Our budget is $500 each. We are into a mix of everything. We walk, use public transit and ride shares, but no taxis. And now here it goes. It's got to put together like a whole weekend itinerary for you based on the information that you just gave it. So it's a really cool way to help put together quickly too, especially if you've been the one tasked with putting together the girls' weekend and you don't have a lot of time because you work. All right, we have about 30 minutes left. Does anybody want to continue to see more examples or does anybody have your own examples? I used it to redo my resume, but keep the content. It did a good job. Yeah. In fact, I use it to redo cover letters quite a bit. So I don't necessarily keep redoing my resume, but what I'll do is I'll have it read the job description and I'll have it do a cover letter new every single time. So every time I apply for a new job, I'll have it do a brand new cover letter for each of the positions that I apply for. I have an example. Use it to explain a medical test. It was so good. In fact, I just got my third MRI back. and I was preparing to go to my neurologist for the follow-up appointment, and I wanted to make sure that I had all of the questions that I needed to ask about my care, like my general care and like how we were going to move forward with my treatment and everything that was on these MRIs. I wanted to make sure that I understood what they meant. So I went back and forth with my GPT, which again is I use Grok, and I was able to put together a really great document. And I actually went on Wednesday and sat with my doctor, and he was like, I really appreciate you put this together for me. There are not many patients do this. He was really impressed. So it was really cool. And it was really great that I did that. And I think that he appreciated it too. Yeah. I fed in the results of all three of my MRIs, and my GPT like could read all of it. So even though I did say earlier that it's got the propensity misinformation, I really do feel like we've come a long way from that. And I don't think that it's as bad as it was in the very beginning. GPTs. So this is a little bit different from one clicks. And this is what you find over here just above where the chat history is. We have at the top of the sidebar, we have what's called Explore GPTs. So exploring GPTs, these are the kind of the next evolution of where we're at today. This is the next step. So the next step of generative AI is what we call agentic AI. So what I'm talking about is AI agents. An AI agent is when you give a bot, when I say bot, I'm referring to an instance of a large language model and you encapsulate it with a job or role or task, a role, a task, and context, and you close it up. And that's all it ever will do from that point forward. What you've done is you've created an agent. And now, anytime you use it, that's an agent. It's a little bit different from one click, which is similar, but it's not quite as robust as an agent because an agent can actually take and you can upload knowledge based information to it. So I can actually upload like a document and say, here's all of the things that you need to know in order to be a really good agent at this task that I'm giving you to do. So let's say that it's a travel agent for New York City. So I take everything there is to know about being a travel agent for New York City and I wrap it up in like this knowledge based document. And then I upload this document into this instant of this bot. And I say, now you have everything that you need to know. And now this is all you do from here on out. And then I would upload it here to where it says these GPTs. Okay. Over here on this side, people actually can create these. Some of these are created from people that I know. And then some of these are public. So all of these over here are public AI agents. And so you can see over here some of the most trending GPTs. So when we're saying that, we just mean GPT agents. And you can go through them and see all of the different things. So there's research and analysis. So some of these, the only thing that they're meant to do is just research. Some of them are science research. Some of them are scholarly research. If you're in school, I'm sure you've heard of Wolfram Alpha. If you're in college, I'm sure you've heard of Wolfram, especially with math. GPT has been uploaded with all there is Wolfram Alpha. And now you can click on that. And now that's an agent and it's an AI agent. You can talk back and forth with it. There are education agents, lifestyle agents, programming agents. So if you are a programmer, you can now come in here and you can actually find like Python code. You can go back and forth with Python assistant, a website generator assistant, SQL assistant, all of that. Anyway, just wanted to make sure that I showed you that as well. And then you can explore them more because each one of these say see more. And I believe like when you click on them, it takes you to, oh, okay, it just gives you 12. Got it. Yeah. And you can search for them if you don't see them all here. So one that I use quite a bit is AI Video Maker by Descript. Now I do have a subscription to Descript, but this is how I made. If you came here because you saw the video that I made and it was like, what do you really think about AI? And it ran like a little video. I made that through coming here to AI Video Maker by Descript. I created that video using this. particular one. And I also made the website that brought you here. If you signed up for this webinar from my website, I also made that website with AI and I used Gamma. If you saw Gamma here, I used Gamma to make that website. So I pretty much use AI in everything that I do. All right. Any other questions? All right. I was going to show you a couple of other, let's see, I was going to show you a couple of other chat bots. Oh, yeah. Here we go. All right. So I wanted to show you a couple of other ones. So this one is DeepSeek. So DeepSeek is completely free and it's just chat at deepseek.com. This is one again. I've used it a little bit. And then we've got Grok. Like I told you, I absolutely love Grok. Use it all the time. And that's at grok.com. Now, Grok is it is developed by Elon Musk. So if you do have any issues specifically with Elon Musk, then maybe you don't want to use Grok, but it is there anyway. I will show you Midjourney. And I believe that Midjourney has stopped requiring having the 100 ones on. Is Lisa still in here? Lisa, did Midjourney stop requiring that they do the 100 one on Discord before you could do these? Before you could use Alpha? I think they did. I think you can just go to Midjourney Alpha now, which is midjourney.com, and just start
Yes.
using Midjourney now.
Yes, they
Yeah.
definitely did.
It used to be only use Midjourney if you went to Discord first and learned how to use their Discord, which was a little bit of a pain in the butt if you didn't know how to use Discord. I love Discord, so I loved it. But I know some folks that didn't enjoy doing that. But now you can just go to midjourney.com and start exploring. Hey, thank you everybody. I appreciate you coming. And I'm glad that you did this with me. This was really helpful for me also just to get this content just a little bit more refined so that I can do these. I'm really doing these for free. I'm doing these to give back to the community because I think that this is necessary and I have the time to do it. And I needed something that I could give back to people. So this is my community service back to the peoples. So this is why I'm doing this. I'm not really doing this necessarily for any other reason than that. Although if people did want to sign up for more in-depth one-on-one coaching, people are able to do that, but it's not the main reason for the reason I'm doing these. All right. This is a full room of people. So I appreciate you guys showing up and supporting me tonight. I'm glad that you were able to get something from this as well. It was awesome. Glad I could share this with you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right, you guys, that's it. And there's no more questions. Then you guys have a great night. And I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend.